Hello everybody, my friends, this is Dr. Shin. Today we are going to educating about car accident. Many people, after they got car accident, they don't know what they have to do, and then they suffering their body injury, and also they are a lot of stress for paperwork. They don't know about insurance company. So we had several patients, they are coming to us to get treated after car accident, but still they have a lot of questions. But that's really hard this is what they said. This is really hard to get the right answer from anybody. So today I brought my best friend, Michael Moorman. He's a special attorney for personal injury, and also he's very smart and he's working for you. So I think this is today, our interview will be really benefits for your desire and your questions for car accident, personal injury. Please watching us for this interview from start to the ending point. And also, if you have any questions, just give us the call, or you can give us the questions that we're gonna answer to you as soon as possible. Okay, Mike, how are you, Mr. Moorman?
I am good, Dr.
All right, so really happy to see you again in this clinic, and then a lot of people, audience, they are watching us. So just feel free, just like a family, if one of your family member got car accident, then if they ask you, what are you gonna explain to them? That's it, that's what they all know. Absolutely. I wanted to know, okay, good. Absolutely. So my first question is, if I got a car accident, do I need to file police report?
Yes. A police report is one of the most important things you can do after a car wreck. It brings an uninterested person, the police officer, out to talk to you and to talk to the other driver and to make a diagram of what happened. Again, we hope everyone is honest all the time, but we have cases quite often where someone wants to tell a story, but they've already told the police the truth. And the police officer comes out, he's got the badge, he's got the authority, people are honest with him. So you get an independent investigation of the wreck at the time that it happened, instead of going back and trying to convince someone who did what, when.
Okay, then sometimes the people ask me, you know what, Dr. Shin, I got a car accident, and I call them, then police officers ask us, did you hurt? And then they say right. No, and then we're not gonna be there, just call your insurance company.
Yes.
So,
if it's not a severe car wreck, or if it's rush hour traffic and there's a big wreck somewhere else, or even on private property, they won't come out many times, but you can still walk in a report. Call the police, and you can either do it over the phone or go to the police station and fill out a report there. Just make sure you get the other driver's information, name, address, phone number, driver's license number, license plate, and all of that information.
Then can I take a picture for another party's?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's huge. 10 years ago, when not everyone had a phone, it was harder, but now that you've got a phone, you can take a picture of the other driver's license, insurance card, license plate, the damage to the vehicles, all of that. That's very helpful.
Okay, then many people, they're asking about these questions too. How is fault determined? For example, what if I was partially at the fault, and will I still have coverage for injury and repairs? I think they are wonder about body injury and
sure.
Yes, property damage.
And
too.
The property damage, yes. Fault is going to be determined based on the rules of the road that we all learned when we took our driver's exam. You have to yield to oncoming traffic, stop at a stop sign, stop at a red light, pay attention to what's in front of you and not follow too closely. And that's why it's helpful if you can get a police officer to come out. He will take the statement and find out who did what. Now, oftentimes, there may be a witness. We want to make sure to get the witness information, because if both drivers are telling a different story, the witness won't have a dog in the fight, and he's happy to just tell what happened. And you'll still have coverage even if you're determined to be partially at fault. Okay. It may impact how much the insurance company pays. If you're 30% at fault, instead of paying you $100 for your damage, the insurance company would pay $70 because they would put 30% fault on you.
All right. Then, for example, let's say a private property, a parking lot. She was trying to back up. I was trying to go ahead, and then she just hit my car. and then she said, "Ooh, what happened? I'm sorry." And the next day she said, "You know what? That was your fault." So my question is, how do we know this is whose fault is? You know what?
In a situation like that, it can be hard, especially if they change the story and a police officer doesn't come out to the scene. That's why it's important to take pictures of the damage and to get names and phone numbers of any witnesses to see who was doing what. Were they looking when they were backing out, or if you're the person backing out, was the car going too fast or not paying attention?
So that means that is not my job. Insurance company adjuster is going to figure out who was the fault. Is that correct?
That the adjuster will determine fault, but the more information you can give the adjuster, the more accurate their decision will be.
And also, if they have any question and they call you, then you're going to help them some answer from their questions too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's really great. Yes.
Talk to a lot of car wreck victims, and if we can help, we do, and if we can't, we give them our advice and have them do it themselves.
Awesome. Okay, another question.
Yeah.
Do I need to, or do I have to call my insurance company after my car accident?
You don't have to, but it's a good idea. Okay. Your insurance company is there to protect you, and they will also, depending on the coverages you have, may be able to pay for some of your medical bills and your property damage, regardless of what the other insurance company does or how long it takes the other insurance company to pay.
Okay. I just got to ring a bell. Many people they ask me, they got a car accident, their fault. So I was driving and I got a text message and I got hit something.
Sure.
So they suffering their body, it's physical pain, but they wondered if I go to the clinic and get treatment, their insurance fee will be going up. So they're a little scared about that situation. So can you explain about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
In both Kansas and Missouri, if you are involved in a car wreck and you're not at fault, the insurance regulations say that your rates will not go up. But if you are at fault, they will, most likely. The problem with not getting medical treatment in that situation is your rates are going to go up no matter what, because the insurance company knows about it. So whether you use your medical pay coverage or your property damage coverage to repair your vehicle or get medical treatment, your rates are going up one way or the other. So you might as well use your policy.
So that means even though after I claim my car accident, that was my fault, and then even though I go to the clinic to get my treatment or not, my insurance will be going up anyway, right?
Yes, whether you get treatment or not, the insurance company is likely going to consider you a higher risk.
So we have to go to get treated, okay? Right.
Yes,
and then
it's always a good idea.
Yeah, there we go. And then another question is, will that cause my premium to increase? I mean, this is the same question, but they want to know about premiums insurance coverage. What is premium insurance coverage?
Well, the premiums are what you pay every month for the coverage, and the insurance company looks at you, looks at your driving record, looks at your age, and determines how much they're going to charge you for the coverage they offer.
Okay.
And obviously, when I was 25 years old, my rates were higher than they are now, because as a 25-year-old, I was probably a much riskier driver.
Okay.
So they look at all of that. And if you've been in wrecks that you've caused, they consider you a higher risk, and you're going to pay more every month for your insurance.
Okay.
But again, the simple fact that you have a car wreck is what makes it go up. It's not getting medical treatment or having your property damage repaired. They don't make it go up more if you get medical treatment.
If my fault, it will be going up.
No matter what.
Okay. Or even though go to the clinic or not.
Yep.
All right. Okay, very good point. Okay, so another question is, what if there were minor damages and no one was injured?
Sure. It's always still a good idea to get a police report, have the police come out and do an investigation. And there are many cases that we work with, and I'm sure you've worked with many patients, who didn't think they were hurt at the scene of the wreck.
Exactly.
And soft tissue injuries to the ligaments and tendons and muscles, it often takes 2 or 3 days to show up. Someone wakes up the next day and can't get out of bed even though they thought they were fine at the scene. And that can happen even with minimal damage to the car, because cars these days are designed to absorb energy. So the car absorbs the energy, but it still transfers through to the driver, and their neck gets pushed back and
Is
forth.
that whiplash, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So even if there's minimal damage, it's a good idea to get a police report. In Kansas, and we'll talk about this, I think, in a second, you've got personal injury protection coverage to pay medical bills. So it's always a good idea to get checked out.
All right, all right. So another question is very simple. Where and how do I get my vehicle, my car damages fixed after a car accident? Yes.
Right. Your insurance company will most likely have a shop that they prefer, that they will pay directly and work with directly. You can do that. Or if you have a shop that you want to use, you can also take your car there. The only difference is if you use your own shop, your insurance company may not pay all of what they charge because State Farm, Allstate, Farmers, whatever, they have a relationship with certain body shops, so they get a 5 or 10% discount.
Oh.
So if you go to your own shop because you trust them, you might have to pay a little bit more, or you may have to argue with the adjuster a little bit.
Okay. Then another question about the rent car. So can I get a rent car through my insurance company after I got car accident?
It depends.
It depends.
If you have rental coverage, and there's a lot we could talk about. Insurance coverage, rental coverage is not very expensive, and it's well worth it. So you pay a few dollars a month, but if you need a car for 2 or 3 weeks, they'll provide one.
Okay.
So if you don't have rental coverage through your insurance, you're not going to be able to get it through your insurance. But if the other driver has insurance, you may be able to get it through them.
Okay.
But if you're at fault, or if it's a one-car wreck, you have to have it on your own policy.
Okay, so we have to better look our own policy
Yes.
first, and then if you have any question, you can just call us or call him, or just leave your question. Then we're going to answer to you if we can. Okay, I mean as soon as possible. Another question is very important. Do I need to seek medical treatment for acupuncture, chiropractic adjustment for my muscle pain and joint pain after car accident?
Yes. First of all, I always advise going to the emergency room if you're in pain at the scene, just to get checked out. Make sure you don't have any broken bones or anything like that. Next, a lot of people want to go to their primary care physician, but I will tell you, most primary care physicians don't really know how to deal with neck and back injuries, the soft tissue whiplash type of injury.
Some of them are good.
Some of them are very good. But many of them just say come back in 30 days and give you pain medicine.
Okay, I got you. Yes.
The research shows that the best first line treatment for whiplash, neck, back injury is chiropractic or acupuncture.
Exactly.
Because physical therapy, they're going to be moving you around, and when you have inflammation and spasm, you don't want to be moved around. Whereas chiropractic and acupuncture don't move the patient, and it is, like I said, it's the best first line treatment you can get to relieve your pain.
That's very nice. Are you a chiropractor too?
I am not a chiropractor, but we work with a lot because, again, we've done a lot of study on this.
Very smart. Yes.
And one thing I will say, most chiropractors can probably get you feeling better, but if you're in a car wreck, you want to make sure you go to a chiropractor that is very familiar with car wrecks, because a good chiropractor is going to make you better no matter what. But chiropractors that are familiar with car wrecks will document their paperwork differently. They will check boxes differently in their forms, things that the insurance company looks for.
Oh, that's very
So you could have the best chiropractor in the world, but if he doesn't take adequate notes, you're not going to be able to recover very well from the insurance company. Whereas someone like you that works with a lot of car wrecks, you document your file very well because you know what they're looking for. And it helps with your physical recovery and your financial recovery.
Awesome. Okay, another question. Will the insurance company will cover it, and then will I have to pay out of my own pocket? Which one is right?
Well, it depends on fault. If you have insurance coverage and you're at fault, the insurance company should step in and try to get that resolved without you having to pay out of pocket.
Is that in Kansas, right?
In both Kansas and Missouri.
Okay.
Depending on fault. Now, with property damage, if you cause the wreck and don't have property damage coverage, or if you want to go through your own insurance to have them pay for the property damage instead of the other insurance, the other driver's insurance, you may have to pay a deductible. Or if you don't have property coverage, they may not pay at all.
All right.
So in Kansas, every driver is required to have what's called personal injury protection coverage, PIP, PIP. And at a minimum, it will pay $4,500 of your medical bills for any car wreck you're involved in, regardless of fault. So even if you caused the wreck, your coverage, your auto coverage will pay for $4,500 of medical bills, which will be hopefully an emergency room visit and maybe getting checked out to see how you're doing.
Right.
In Missouri doesn't require personal injury protection coverage. It has an optional coverage called MedPay. And MedPay comes in $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 chunks, and it will do the same thing. It will pay your medical bills regardless of fault. The difference is in Kansas, PIP is required. In Missouri, MedPay is optional. So again, it's like the rental coverage. The folks watching the video should look at their policy. If you're on the Missouri side and you do not have MedPay, talk to your agent. It's not very expensive and it's very helpful.
Okay, so that means we have a lot of patients who went to the ER right after car accident, and then when I was asking them, what did you do in ER, they said, I don't know, they took CT, X-ray stuff, and I don't know. And then their bill was like more than a lot. So
the ER bills are often very, very high, but if insurance is paying, they reduce them down to a reasonable number.
Okay.
I mean, we've seen some emergency room bills for
So
CTs.
you can help them.
Yeah, yeah. We work with the hospitals to get their bills as low as possible and make sure that all the bills are satisfied.
That's great. So if I think, you just mentioned that $4,500 for PIP, PIP.
Yes, is a minimum.
Minimum. So if I want to, you just mentioned that too. If I want to increase up a little bit more higher, let's say 20,000. So then that's possible to do it, right? So I need to talk to.
Yeah, I think the highest number you can get of PIP coverage in Kansas is $27,500.
How about Missouri side?
It's going to depend on each insurance coverage. And over 5,000, it's usually multiples of 5, so 5 or 10. But we don't see much over 10, so I don't think insurance companies really offer much more than that.
This is really important questions.
Yeah.
How do I know if I need an attorney?
It depends on the severity of the claim. The more serious the claim is, the more likely it is an attorney will be helpful. Many people are very competent to handle their own claims, especially if they're a smaller claim. And one thing that we do quite often is we talk to a lot of folks, and if we don't think we can add value to the case, we tell them, you know what, you should handle this yourself. And if you have questions as it goes, give us a call. But, you know, if we're not going to justify our fee, we're not going to sign you up. But it's still worth a consult. Personal injury attorney is not going to charge you to have a conversation on the phone.
Very
so
nice.
It's not a bad idea.
Okay, then how do I choose an attorney, and then how much of the settlement will I get, and also how much does the attorney get paid?
Sure. Choosing an attorney, it's somewhat personal. You need to make sure that you get along with your attorney and that you have a good relationship with your attorney. Some of the things to ask are how long they've been doing it. Have they gone to trial on cases? Because there are many, many attorneys in Kansas City that just do not try cases. If you're going to go with a television law firm, some are very good, some are less so. So ask a lot of questions about how long you've done it, what's your success rate, what's your process, will I have access to the attorney, or am I going to be talking to the receptionist every time I call in? Things like that.
Okay.
And then on the fees, it's a contingency fee.
A contingency
So, because in real life, most people can't go pay $100, $200 an hour for anyone for a continued period of time. So we take a percentage of the recovery. And in Kansas, it's typically, well, Kansas and Missouri, it's typically anywhere from 33 up to 50%. Our firm, we go 35% if we can settle the case early.
That's
if we have to file a lawsuit, it goes up to 40%. But the reason we do that is because, you know, nobody can actually afford to pay out of pocket
if you're working well, then why not?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I have another question. To someone who got, someone who got car accident and then they hired attorney, and then they complain about, my attorney never called me back, and my attorney, he just disappeared. I don't know what's going on, never responds to me back, and then I don't know what should I have to tell them because I'm not an attorney. So
Right.
in this situation, what you can give, the advice?
We get calls like that fairly regularly. Our advice is typically work it out with your attorney, because many attorneys don't want to get involved in a case that someone else has handled, because they don't, us especially, because we want to be able to have some control over the investigation and the communication up front.
Yeah.
And just, I understand it can be very frustrating trying to get an attorney on the phone, but our first advice in those situations is work it out with your attorney. Talk to them about your concerns, and then, and only then, if it's irretrievable relationship, you have the right to your own attorney, and you can fire your attorney. Unfortunately, they may be able to take a piece of the settlement for the work they've done.
Okay. Many people really, they suffering those kind of situations. So if they have any question, they can call you.
Absolutely.
And then you can explain to you, right? Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. So I think they really like our interview. Okay, so I will see you next week too.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Right, there you go. All right, thank you very much. I really appreciating you watching us, our interview with Mike Moman. I believe this is a really great time for you too. If you have any questions, just give us a call. Maybe you can writing your questions on the text message, then we're going to answer to you. If you have another question for Mike Moman, this is number. You can call him, or you can email him too. Okay, great. So next week we are going to explain about the regulation law about car accident, personal injury between Kansas State and Missouri State. Thank you for watching. So I'm going to see you next week. Thank you.